What they used to say. Good to see you. Good that you have chosen to be in the Lord's house today. If you are our guest, we welcome you. We hope that you'll hang around for just a minute and let our folks give you a handshake or a high five or knuckles or whatever they feel safe to do. Before COVID, we used to go around and hug each other, but not a lot of hugging going on these days, is there? I kind of miss that. All right, today we're going to talk about believers are kept. Are you kept? Well, over in the book of 1 Peter, Peter makes a statement I think that is worthy of us reading and getting a little insight from. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 5. He says, who are kept by the power of God through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time. And then we can go over to the book of John chapter 10, verse 27. Jesus speaking, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father which gave them me is greater than all. No man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. Baptists get criticized for a lot of things, but one of the things that we're often criticized for is believing that all believers are preserved eternally. I didn't look at it, but used to in our doctrinal statement in the front of your Sunday school quarterly. I believe that's part of used to be, unless they've changed it, part of our doctrinal statement, that we believe that we are preserved eternally. I remember when I was in seminary, we used to have a pantry there, and most seminaries do, because a lot of the students are poor. We were poor with 4 O's, and so churches would send food to the pantry, and so hungry students would go and get food to feed them and their wives, or if they were single guys and knew how to cook. Our one fellow we knew, his name was George. George had 5 kids. And so we had to get in there before George, because George would just wipe the whole thing out, you know. And so many a time I'd go in there, there wouldn't be anything in there except for 2 things. Number 1 is hominy. Cans of rusted cans. I guess nobody else likes hominy either. Maybe you're a hominy fan. No offense, please. But there was hominy. And the other thing that they had, Darren, were preserves. Preserves, jelly, and jam. From the Depression, I think. Because if you pried the lid off one of those things, it would go up to the ceiling. And so we kind of left those alone. They had so much dust on them, and I realized that a lot of them came out of the cellars. Up in Arkansas, where I went to school, they had a lot of storm cellars. They had a lot of tornadoes, and so when they sounded the siren, you went into the cellar with the snakes and the other creatures. And so we understood what it meant to be preserved, but eventually, and I hope that those preserves are now gone. To be preserved means to keep for a long time. And so we understand that to be saved is for a long time, because we know that we are eternal beings, aren't we? We will live somewhere after death eternally. When we die, we are more alive than ever. And so when we're talking about preservation, we're talking about being preserved eternally. That's as long as it gets. That's as long as it can get. And so, for many believers, and some people believe that you can lose your salvation, or what they call fall from grace. That means that if you sin too much, that you lose that salvation. God will take it back. We don't believe that. We believe that once he gives it to you, he gives it to you for keeps. He said, I give unto them eternal life. Eternal means never ending. And so if he took it back, it would not be eternal life, would it? It would be, at best, temporary life. And so the salvation that we believe that God has to offer us is eternal life. It is an eternal salvation. It is something that does not end. From the time that you are saved, you are preserved eternally. Okay? Hope you got that. Now, falling from grace teaches that we depend upon human good works to keep us saved. That's what that false theology is. You have to, in other words, God makes the down payment, but then you got to keep up the installments. And if you don't keep up the installments, then you have it forfeited. You have to give it up and perhaps need to be saved again and again. I've heard people say, yeah, I've been saved 6 or 7 times. No, you weren't. If you weren't saved the first time, you wouldn't save the other 5 times. It's a one-time event. Now, you may not have truly believed. You may have believed in vain. You may have believed